When it's dark out like it is right now, some people might think the best way to cover their belongings is by just covering up their trunk and then closing it when leaving everything inside. But law enforcement says that's actually not the case. There are 3 officers involved in the shooting, none of which are injured at this time. However, we have learned that one suspect has been shot and has suffered multiple gunshot wounds. The flames have come all the way down from the top of the rock wall right now, just 20 or so feet away from the edge of the road. The flames are very loud, they're burning very hot, and fire crews are having trouble because of all the wind. Flood levels at the Grand Round River near Troy, Oregon have become so high at this point that this road behind me has actually flooded over because of these high water levels. Lots of snow is the story. Take a look at what's outside our KLEW News studios right now. We're seeing a large accumulation of snow so far, at least 2-3 inches on the ground in the Lewiston orchards. And look what was dumped in the past few hours. Look at this red pickup truck outside of Colton High School. Just a ton of snow right now. Chestnut Beach is closed again for the same reason it is almost every summer. There's fecal bacteria in the water, and right now levels are more than double the healthy amount. But that's not true this year. It is here at the Nez Perce County Fair, and we're about to show you what this ride is going to look like. About 105 feet in the air right now, reaching speeds up to 60 miles per hour. Armen Araradian here at the top of the Lewiston Hill for a massive fire that's broken out. And that's how close this fire is right now to these homes. More Nez Perce County fire officials arriving right now.
We're closing the whole northbound side going north to Moscow.
Okay, not south though?
Not at this time right now.
The backcountry medics respond when and where normal emergency crews cannot. From anything like whiteout conditions like this, to steep terrain like this slope where most crews do not have the tools or equipment to provide life-saving aid. The current boat ramp I'm standing on only goes around 73 feet or so away from the edge of the water. But the new projected ramp will go all the way out here to over 230 feet away. County commissioners say that's more than enough room to handle the needs for summer recreation. There's been an uncountable number of crashes here over the past few years, and that unfortunately goes along with multiple fatalities. The Nez Perce Tribe says it's trying to figure out ways to make this intersection safer for drivers. Shots were fired around 4 p.m. at Rigney's home in the Lewiston Orchards near 11th and Burrow. He was off duty and with his family at the time.
Person came to his residence. When he opened the door, the person took fire. Of course, Officer Rigney was shot twice. His wife and children were home, and his wife immediately called 911, and they showed up and took him to the hospital.
Multiple neighbors saw and heard the male shooter fire at Rigney.
I just heard a lot of gunfire. Sounded like to me like the Wild West with semi-automatics.
Police say around 10 shots were fired at Rigney's home.
It scared me, and I just kind of looked around. I'm going like, what is going on? Because it's close enough to definitely make it out and know what was going on, because it was numerous shots, and then silence, and then some more shots, and then some silence and more shots.
The suspect then fled in this gold sedan and went to multiple other locations, firing more shots at officers pursuing him.
Multiple locations, but I can tell you, if you see this tape, avoid the area.
The chase ended on Burrell Avenue, right outside the Nez Perce County Fairgrounds. That's where 3 Lewiston police officers shot the suspect, who has not yet been named by law enforcement.
Crews had an individual down, multiple gunshot wounds. When I arrived, crews were performing CPR on that individual, and that individual was transported to St. Joe's.
The suspect has died after being transported by medics. 4 total crime scenes were scattered around the orchards, bringing more than 5 agencies, including the FBI, to Lewiston.
Dad recently went into hospice care, and at that time they asked if he had a wish.
88-year-old Wallace Williams has mesothelioma, cancer that lines his lungs.
He was actually told that without treatment he probably wouldn't make it 6 months.
But 1 year later, Wallace is still here.
No, I'm fine.
His final wish came true Friday.
It was on my bucket list to fly one more time.
So friends called local pilot Gary Peters out of Hangar 180 at the Lewiston Airport. He gladly stepped up to the mission.
To honor veterans and include them and let them know how special they are.
Wallace served in the armed forces for 13 years. He quit school at 16 and joined the Air Force with his 2 twin uncles.
I made World War II vet with all the goodies by 2 days.
He helped clean up Guam after the war and was stationed in Panama, California, Washington, Alaska, and Texas. When he joined the Air Force, Wallace learned to fly in Orofino on the GI Bill.
Some people dream about being a cop. Some people dream about flying. I had no desire to be a cop.
He learned to fly in smaller planes similar to this one before it became an everyday activity.
You're just in a different world.
Wallace's final wish, to take to the skies one final time. And through a little pain, his bucket list is complete.
Just like heaven. It's a different feeling.
He and Peters flew to Orofino to see the place he learned to fly from the skies, the whole time smiling and waving to the town of 3,000 below. Taking it all in, knowing it might be the last time he would ever see the land from above.
I haven't seen him smile this much in months, literally months.
And Wallace enjoying crossing off the last item on his bucket list with some jokes along the way.
If I had 10, 15 hours in it, then I would have liked to have, done some stunts, but I didn't get up nerve enough.
We were giggling, joking the whole time there and the whole time home, and it was, I'm not sure who had more fun today, him or me.
Wallace's 5 daughters, 13 grandchildren, and 22 great-grandchildren don't know how much time he has left.
He outlived what the doctor said, and he's still going pretty strong. There's no guarantee of tomorrow.
But as they watch their dad fly off into the sunset doing what he loves, only one word.
I had absolute joy.
Every year around the 4th of July, the Nez Perce County Sheriff's Office steps up patrols on the Snake River, making sure
Fire extinguisher.
boaters have the required equipment and are staying safe.
Do you know how long the boat is?
If we can prevent crashes, if we can prevent people getting hurt, injured, dying. And that's really what we're out here for, is to try to make sure everybody's recreating safely and get to enjoy the weekend.
Is that a life jacket?
Corporal Patrick Dupay looks for proper boating registration, fire extinguishers, and life jackets on board. He says those few things can help prevent an emergency.
People might get on the water 4 or 5 times a year or less, maybe once a year, and a lot of those rules kind of go unnoticed.
And what's your name, ma'am?
Corporal Dupay says while they aren't afraid to hand out citations for improper safety measures, their goal is to instead educate on the first busy day of the year.
People see us, they know that that they can't get away with anything that they want to do, and that we're going to be checking for the equipment and things like that.
Type 4 throwable, a square cushion or a round circle cushion that cost somebody.
And even though Operation Dry Water is only a 3-day enhanced enforcement, Dupay says expect to see the sheriff's boat on the water for weeks to come.
This is how we kind of kick it off. A lot of areas around us are the same way, with the water temperatures warming up and people starting to get on the water. This is a good weekend for us to get out and have a presence.